This is All India Radio. Sustainable packaging for sustainable development. Among the 17 goals set by the United Nations for sustainable development is the ninth one that calls for building resilient infrastructure, promoting inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. Containers and packaging are products that are assumed to be discarded the same year the products they contain are purchased. Containers and packaging make up a major portion of municipal solid waste, MSW, amounting millions of tons each year. Plastic packaging is extremely wasteful and impacts Earth's ecosystems on which we depend. Due to poor product design and lack of political infrastructure, the majority of plastic waste is sent to landfills or disposed of into the environment. Out of the billions of tons of plastic that have been produced, only 9% has been recycled properly. Because plastic isn't biodegradable, every piece of plastic ever made is still on this earth. Corporations are supplying the rapidly growing populations with single-use plastic. Plastic packaging is one of the greatest generators to plastic pollution for its shortest lifespan. Handling waste on site costs time, energy, and manpower. This includes time spent cleaning, collecting, transporting, and removing waste from your facility. Reducing total waste produced by using biodegradable alternatives or circling the material back into the system for reuse would save labor cost. And working in this direction is an innovative entrepreneur, Ved Krishna, who has established himself as a pioneer in the sustainable packaging industry in the country. We spoke to him over the phone lines to know more about his project.
You have actually helped the consumers by producing some durables which are for consumers which are made from waste material. Can you tell us more about your project?
So our company is fully focused on producing compostable packaging. It's important to understand what compostable packaging means because we talk a lot about recyclability, we talk a lot about biodegradability. So fundamentally, if you look at anything natural, it goes back to nature, which is how the earth is designed. So we believe, that we do as humans should also follow that example. And everything that we produce must go back to Mother Earth as beneficial. So if you throw away any of our packaging, it is basically going to become manure and be beneficial for the planet. So what we do is focus on two different domains. We use sugarcane waste, which is called bagasse, which is the fiber that is left over after squeezing of the juice out of sugarcane. And we use that and make it into different grades of papers, which are basically used for bags. So it is basically a replacement for the poly bag. And then we also mold it into different products and create sustainable tableware, which is things like plates, bowls, containers, takeaway containers, trays, etc., which can again, if they are thrown, then they will again become compost. So those are the two domains that we work in.
Have your products found easy acceptance with the consumers?
Yeah, very much so. We started making our molded products about 3 years back, and we've seen a constant change in terms of the acceptability and also desire to adopt this sort of packaging in the market. There is clearly a movement towards more and more awareness. The early shifters, it was a little more difficult 3 years back because people were primarily focused on the cost. But as time has gone by, that has become less of a factor, and people realize that sooner or later they will have to shift. So there are a lot of takers who want to go that direction. So of course, when a business cost does remain a consideration, but it's not the only consideration that consumers have today.
When you talk about products from agricultural pulp waste, sugarcane pulp waste, if you were not making this, what would have been the net result of that waste? Would it have added to the pollution? Would it have been burned?
So the primary usage for say, sugarcane waste would have been to burn it. Some of the sugar industries have set up power plants, and then they would burn the bagasse and they would make that into create heat and create electricity from that. But that said, bagasse in itself is not a great fuel. People use it because it is available. but it has almost 50% moisture. So we are burning something that is not meant to be burned. We're trying to evaporate something which is a more cumbersome process. So it has been burnt and used for either electricity or disposed.
Now, most importantly, the next thing that I want to ask you, our Prime Minister has been constantly talking about Make in India. He has been talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. He's been talking about Startup India, Stand Up India. So when you started this project of yours 3 years back, was it completely indigenous technology or did you have to rely on technology from abroad?
No, we had to rely upon technology from abroad. There was no. Nowadays, there is still some companies coming up, but we did want to set up always a really world-class facility, and there was no technology available in India. So we had to go across the world. We went to Europe, we went to South Africa, we went to Canada, we went to China, and eventually bought, whichever was the world's best, fastest, biggest machine. And we ended up picking those, and those were actually available in China. So that is what we have done. I'm still hoping that, this will evolve, and there are some manufacturers which are coming up in India. And I hope that they will be able to upgrade themselves to a technological level where we can actually look towards manufacturing from India. But for now, the answer is that we have to rely on technology from outside India.
But now that you have been so successful in your venture, do you think that you have set a kind of a prototype and you can offer this kind of technology or this kind of a setup for others to replicate this model?
So I think in business, what is important is to understand that everybody has their own calling and everybody has their own specialization. So for us, our whole DNA basically comes from the thought that we want to produce a lot of compostable packaging to lead towards a cleaner planet. So that is our focus as a business. For technology, we continue to rely on others because, again, in every business, you need constant upgradation, you need innovation, you need constant evolution. In our case, we would rather evolve the products, make them more accessible, make them more cost-effective, make them better suited. So that's where all our energy goes. We tend to then find technology partners. We talk to people across the world, keep in touch with what is happening, and then see what is the next adaptation that we have to take place. And I would say that we are definitely not keen on being technology providers, but that said, we are very, very open as a company, and anything we can do to help anybody coming into this segment, we are always happy to support.
Now, as of now, you're based in Uttar Pradesh near Ayodhya, and you're using sugarcane pulp waste. Is there a chance of similar kind of packaging material being made from other agricultural waste, including crop stubble?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a lot of people doing really interesting work. There's a lot of startups which we support as well. In fact, some of them come and spend a lot of time looking at our technology, talking to our team, because we have a very, very strong technology team. And I know that there have been a few young startups, even from IITs, who have come and spent a lot of time. And I do think the time is not far because these are all cellulosic fibers, whether it is rice straw, which you are talking about, the stubble burning, or there is wheat straw where there is not that much stubble burning, but it is still a waste that either goes as fodder sometimes or again will be used for some other products. So definitely these two. I know that there is a very, very interesting young company again that is talking about mustard husk, and they have been doing a lot of experiments with that. The barrier remains that of how to pulp, because pulp mills are typically large. But that said, again, I'm aware of companies that are trying to set up very small pulping systems. I'm definitely hopeful that, that will keep changing and we can add value from the waste that is generated. So I would say, in the coming times, we will see this revolution happening.
It's been absolutely fantastic to hear about your venture, which is doing so well. And more than that, it is simply delightful to know that you, in your own way, are contributing towards a greener planet. We at All India Radio wish you all success. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much.
You just heard Kiran Mishra in conversation with Ved Krishna, a pioneer in the sustainable packaging industry in India. This broadcast, produced by Kiran Mishra, came to you from All India Radio Delhi.